Coming up in this edition, First Lady Sianya Makuruma calls on young women to empower themselves to achieve their dreams. As Freetown experiences water scarcity, Parliament summons stakeholders in the water sector. The Chief Executive Officer of Save the Children Sierra Leone International, Hale Thornin-Smith, calls on the international community to help Sierra Leone achieve its post-Ebola recovery plan. And Deputy Minister of Information and Communications, Cornelius Devo, calls for collaboration with civil society. All these stories and more, including business and sports, in this edition of News Hour. First Lady Sianya Makuruma has called on young women to seize the opportunities that are being offered by the government and donor partners, as well as the private sector, to empower themselves to achieve their goals. She made the statement during the launching of the Young Women Empowerment and Advancement Program, an initiative of the government through the Ministry of Youth and the National Youth Commission. Kojokwafo reports.
The First Lady acknowledged that young women face many challenges in Sierra Leone, including gendered-imposed roles, life-threatening diseases, unequal access to socio-economic opportunities, unemployment, underemployment, and little or no form of education. She says that because women work in poor conditions and earn low income with little or no social protection, they open themselves up to exploitation and increase their vulnerability to poverty. Mrs. Kuroma echoed the plight of women in the agriculture sector, saying that although they dominate that sector, they face marginalization with little or no access to credit facilities, improved technologies, and unequal access to land, extension services, and post-harvest technologies.
I would like to implore you to live by the ideals and objectives of this newly established Young Women's Empowerment and Advancement Program that seek inter alia to strengthen the capacity of young women to make decisions and choices based on knowledge and to engage in leadership responsibilities with dignity. As you quite rightly put it, attitudinal change and transformation of negative mindsets in our communities will no doubt foster young women's empowerment.
The First Lady reminded her audience about Pillar 3 of Sierra Leone's Agenda for Prosperity, which calls for the creation of employment opportunities for youth, the development of medium and long-term strategies that will foster youth employment, the initiation of youth development programs, including youth skills training programs and schemes.
On 8 March 2016, I joined Women of Sierra Leone in calling on the Constitutional Review Commission to engender the Constitution and to ensure that the supreme law of the land enshrines women's empowerment and advancement in an unequivocal manner. We welcome the promulgation of an affirmative action bill for women's political participation.
Commissioner National Youth Commission Anthony Kuroma says his commission is aware of the challenges young people face, which is why they continue to develop programs to empower the youth, especially young women. Representing UN Women, Carmen Shuba says violence against women and girls has no place in society, while the future of the Sierra Leone society lies with the young people, more so with young women. She adds that it is only when the future of young people is assured that true sustainability can be guaranteed. Representing UNFPA, Fiona says that UNFPA has a passion for young people with a strong adolescent health and development program. She says that harnessing the demographic dividend by creating conditions for young people to enjoy their human rights and subsequent benefits remain a key priority of UNFPA. The president of lawyers, Rhoda Nuni, says that they have been offering legal representation to victims of sexual assault, rape and gender violence, and that they want the National Youth Commission to not only focus on preventing women from being abused, but also to help them understand their rights and obligations and support them when they are in conflict with the law. Minister of Youth Affairs, Mahmoud Bangura, says the capitalization of this initiative is born out of President Nkrumah's desire for women to take center stage. He says that women must move outside of the metaphoric kitchen and step outside to match with men for the development of Sierra Leone. The minister warned that the 50-50 campaign should not only be for the campaigners. He called on young women to prioritize issues on their part, adding that women and girls in Sierra Leone still believe that they do not have the ability to do what men can do. He extended thanks and appreciation to all those who are promoting women's issues in the country.
It is my pleasure to officially launch the National Youth Commission's Young Women's Empowerment and Advancement Program. I take this opportunity to wish the young women of Sierra Leone tremendous success as they continue their journey towards full empowerment and advancement.
Kojokwafu, SLBC.
The Deputy Minister of Information and Communications, Cornelius Divo, has said that government will not be intimidated by any civil society organization in the country. He called for collaboration and dialogue rather than criticizing or incitements. He was speaking during the weekly press conference held at the Ministry of Information and Communications. Let's now join Maya Madinke Kano.
Deputy Minister of Information, Cornelius Divo, says the issue of water shortage is a national concern and that government is committed to providing safe drinking water for the populace. He adds that civil society organizations should not use the current water crisis to intimidate government by making derogatory statements. Mr. Divo says his ministry has established an open-door policy with members of the public to address national issues. He calls on civil society groups to be mindful with issues of national interest. He spoke on the economic downturn, which he attributed to the Ebola outbreak.
Civil society organizations should endeavor to restrain themselves within their limits, and let it be made very clear that notwithstanding the fact that Guma Valley has been named as one of the projects, the institutions that should be privatized, it has not yet been privatized. Yes, to save drinking water for our people remains a primary concern of this government, and government has over the years endeavored to explore several opportunities in addressing the issue of access to safe drinking water.
The Deputy Information Minister informs the public that the NPSC will take place on the 28th of May this year. The government, he adds, has settled the issue with the Ministry of Education. He spoke about the recently launched energy recovery projects to improve access to electricity in the country. Deputy Manager Guma Valley Water Comlin Mada Benge says the issue with water shortage is as a result of illegal structures built around the catchment areas, deforestation and the massive road construction ongoing across the country. He assures that modalities are being put in place to rehabilitate the existing dams and build a new one with support from the Chinese. Mr. Benge informs that 10 water catchment communities have all been tampered with by the public in the country. The Guma Valley Water Company, he notes, has provided about 10 water bowsers for the provision of water in the city, while admitting that the company needs huge resources to tackle the water crisis currently. In another development, the ambassador from Hungary, Kazma Kutz, handed over a report on the ICT sector to the Minister of Information. According to the Director of Communications, Ministry of Information and Communication, Bakar Tarawali, the report, when implemented, will boost the ICT sector in the country, as ICT will be used on e-justice, e-governance, among others. He explains the significance of the report to the country.
His Excellency the President launched the e-government platform, and government has also invested considerably in ICT infrastructure. So the next step is to utilize the infrastructure, and one way we are doing it is to develop ICT applications, short as e-cabinet, e-justice. And this report is a study that was done by a Norwegian investment group that deals with introducing e-cabinets and e-justice applications. This place, like I said, the platform is already there. Then the second thing is that we are now going to look at the report, and we would develop a PowerPoint presentation that can be shared with members of cabinet, so that at the end of the day they are going to make up a decision as to whether the government of Sierra Leone will proceed with the development of that application.
The Chief Executive Officer of Save the Children International, Hal Thorne-Smith, has called on the international community to step up and deliver what they promised to Sierra Leone for its recovery plan. She made a call at a press conference in Freetown. Hawanatu Conte reports.
Children International Chief Executive Officer is on a 2-day visit to assess the post-Ebola recovery process and commend government, Sierra Leoneans, and staff of Save the Children in the country on the great work done during the Ebola outbreak. Madam Ellen Thorne-Smith said her organization, in its Every Last Child campaign, will change the situation of child mothers and other vulnerable children in the country. She said donor pledges and funding gaps by international community are in our agenda.
My aim in coming back then was to make sure that the world didn't forget Sierra Leone, to make sure that people came back and that everyone remembered that a country that is recovering from such a distressful situation needs all the help it can get. And in many ways, that is why I'm back as CEO of Save the Children. There's a lot of children in Sierra Leone that are suffering. There's a lot of work to do to recover after the Ebola crisis. And I want to make sure that the world still remembers Sierra Leone. You can count on Save the Children to remember Sierra Leone. We will have been here for many years, and we are in here for the long haul. We will be here for many years and do hard work for the children of Sierra Leone. But I also want the international community to step up, to fund what they have said they want to fund, and to help the government of Sierra Leone do what they can for children, and to help us do what we can for the children of Sierra Leone.
The Chief Executive Officer spoke of our organization's support to children in Sierra Leone in education, health and child protection, saying they will fight to stop teenage pregnancy and early marriage, of which they have been gaining support from the government. The visit of the Chief Executive Officer of Save the Children International will open opportunities for Sierra Leone, including funding prospects for the organization and government, especially for the recovery process, as well as supporting the survival, education, and protection of children in Sierra Leone. This is Ellen Thorne-Smith's second visit to the country. Her first visit was in January last year as Prime Minister of Denmark, making her the first Western leader to travel to the African nation since it was hit by the Ebola outbreak. The country director of Save the Children, Isaac Okon, said they work in partnership with government and partners to improve the development of children. Hawana Tukonte reporting for SLBC TV News.
The Kamakwe Wesleyan Hospital has been providing medical care to about 7 chiefdoms in the Bambali district and beyond. The hospital is strategically located in the township of Kamakwe. Abubakar Bangura visited the hospital.
Kamakwe Wesleyan Hospital was established by the United States missionaries some 56 years ago with the aim of meeting the medical needs of people. The hospital addresses the needs of a number of chiefdoms in the Bombali district, Kambia, Tonkolimba, Kabala and Guinea. In the 70s, the hospital was the only referral center in the district, and the entire northern region has been able to rescue the lives of many people, improving the health sector. The hospital has provided a number of facilities, training of nurses, and sent them for advanced medical training such as SCCHN, SRN, and CHO. The hospital is also providing medical eye care to people suffering from cataracts as they came from all over the township and nearby villages and every neighboring Guinea for effective eye care. Because of the effective and reliable medical attention, patients came from other parts of the country to access medical care and support as well. The General Superintendent of the Wesleyan Mission Sierra Leone, Reverend Dr. Usman Jess Ifona, told SLBC that the Kamakwe Wesleyan Hospital serves over 200,000 people in the northern region and the south of Guinea annually. He said even though there are challenges in running the hospital, staff have been so committed and dedicated to their work in providing support to patients, as 98% of the community have access to the hospital.
Because one of the good things that we did from the days of the missionaries, that we never send out anybody that comes to the hospital. If you have the money to pay, we treat you. If you don't have the money to pay, we also provide treatment for you. The unique thing about the Kamakwe Hospital, unlike many other hospitals in the country, is that when you come to the Kamakwe Wesleyan Hospital, nobody asks you for money.
Okay.
They'll screen you, they'll get you admitted, you get all of the treatment that you need. It is at the end of your treatment, when they are convinced and persuaded that you are completely healed, that is the time they give you a bill. If you are able to pay, they take the money from you. If you are not able to pay, they let you go.
50% of patients in the area are poor, don't have the finances to pay for their medication and meet their needs. The hospital has a project to support them by paying fees to people that cannot afford. Even though it's a mission hospital, under 5s are treated free of charge, lactating mothers and pregnant women as well. Eye diseases such as glaucoma and cataracts are prevalent, according to an eye specialist, Annette de Souza, who is on a voluntary service, said for the past 17 years, no eye care has been provided. She said they are trying to develop the eye care unit as patients were not serviced properly in the past.
It certainly is. I mean, there are a lot of things that perhaps people would not have gone blind had it been caught earlier, let's say with glaucoma. With cataracts, for instance, there are people blind, and it is a totally preventable and actually not so much preventable, but reversible blindness if they had access to an eye center. And that's what we hope to succeed with, because so many of these people have been completely dependent on relatives and that kind of thing for years, unable. Last year there was a young woman who went blind just after the birth of her child, and had never really seen her child, and after she had the cataract removed, she could actually see her child. So there are lots of things like that make us feel there's a huge need here.
The team from Canada came with all the required equipment needed for the eye surgery. People came in their large numbers for eye care. The Kamakwe Wesleyan Hospital can now boast of an ultrasound machine donated by World Hope International. Taken on a conducted tour of the hospital, the Chief Medical Officer of the Kamakwe Wesleyan Hospital, Dr. Mfa Alisise, said with support from non-governmental organizations, installed a 150-watt system that now provides electricity to the hospital's ward and solar panels. He said being the only medical doctor, his work is difficult as patients keep coming into the hospital on a daily basis. He appealed to the government to provide subvention for workers and to make available medical doctors to run the hospital.
More funding, and we need more staff very urgently. We have an obstetric ward of over 30 beds run by only 2 midwives.
With the Ebola outbreak, the hospital played a pivotal role in the prevention and control of the disease. He said all suspects were from checkpoints and from quarantine homes. SLBC News, Abubakar Bangura reporting.
Sierra Lighthouse Hotel has done a public disclosure on the environmental and social impact assessment of the operation at the Aberdeen community. The assessment and public disclosure was done in accordance with the Environment Protection Agency Act of 2008 as amended in 2010. Francis Danema reports.
Impact assessment, EIA, is normally done to know the impact of the operations of companies, business, organizations, and the implementation of the project that may affect the environment. This public disclosure reveals the impact that the operations of the Sierra Lighthouse Hotel will have on the environment and the social benefits for the next 5 years. The Member of Parliament, Constituency 111, Honorable David Johnson, said with the intervention of the Environment Protection Agency, EPA, business companies can now point out what they will do for their people. He accused Sierra Lighthouse of not fulfilling its corporate social responsibility, pointing out that the hotel has never undertaken any development in the community. He called on EPA to monitor the hotel to closely implement what is in the Environmental Impact Assessment document. General Manager Sierra Lighthouse Limited, Andrew Damoa, denied the allegations of the Member of Parliament and stressed that the hotel has been rendering assistance to the community people.
That's inaccurate. Matter of fact, a good number of our staff live in the Aberdeen locality. We've been in cooperation with them, but sometimes it's a little bit of misunderstanding when they come here. They possibly don't see and talk to the right person. We as a hotel have been doing little things to the community. My personal take is when I'm doing something to the community, I don't want to blow it out of proportion. I think we take the MP's comment very seriously. We probably have to get them involved when we are doing some of these donations.
EPA Senior Environmental Officer Emmanuel Nyaka stressed that their principal function is to protect the environment. He said his agency wrote a series of notification letters to the hotel to undertake environmental impact assessment, which the hotel has finally done. The public disclosure, he said, will bring out the negative and positive impact of the operations of the hotel. He said EPA will give the EIA license if the hotel fulfills the criteria. Presenting the EIA report, the consultant CMAT, Leonard Pokul, informed the people that the operations of the hotel will lead to air and noise pollution if they are using generator. He said the hotel should have water management, emergency response, community and development plan so as to ensure the operations of the hotel does not negatively impact the community.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Security, in collaboration with the International Labour Organization, has organized a national dialogue forum on the Future of Work initiative in Sierra Leone. The aim of the forum is to chart the way forward to provide decent jobs for citizens. Francis Denema sent in this report.
Colleges and technical vocational schools are turning out thousands of graduates every year in Sierra Leone, yet many find it difficult to get decent jobs. The National Dialogue Forum is aimed at looking at the future of work in Sierra Leone and provide recommendations that can match with the growing demand for decent jobs and globalization. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Charles Commander, says every human being at some stage in life requires some form of work to earn a living for him or her and family. With growing demand for decent jobs in developing countries, the Permanent Secretary went on, policymakers should step up and develop policies and courses that can work with the job market. At the 104th session of the International Labour Conference, according to Charles Commander, it was resolved that member countries should engage in a major initiative focusing on the future of work. International Labour Organization ILO country representative Alvic Davino said ILO is delighted to be part of the dialogue as it can chart the way forward to decent jobs in Sierra Leone. The National Forum added will focus on works and societies, decent jobs and governance of jobs. Chairman and Chief Commissioner, National Commission for Persons with Disability, Freddie Kamara, noted that despite the progress made by the government to improve the standard of living for persons with disability, it is still difficult to get decent jobs for them. This, he added, has made persons with disability to resort to menial jobs or begging. Other speakers underscore the importance of fighting poverty through decent jobs. They pointed out that creating more lucrative jobs should be the center plan of every government. The advancement in technology distresses reducing the number of jobs. These speakers went on should urge all stakeholders to step up and recruit young people who are coming from universities and colleges. Minister of Labour and Social Security, Matthew Timbo, informed the participants that the job market is undergoing major change. He called on ILO and other international bodies to join the ministry to match with the growing demand for decent jobs. The minister said his ministry is not in charge of all recruitment processes in the country.
As you see in other countries, what is the HRMO, the PSC, operating separately from the Ministry of Labour? These three sectors, as the Minister of Labour, is the umbrella. The HRMO, the PSC, should be under the Minister of Labour, which is common in other advanced countries. Is that happening in Sierra Leone? If we are to look at how we go to manage and organize labor in Sierra Leone, that should be our focus point. As you are discussing, what is wrong with that? If everybody is in the business of employing, providing employment, but there is no coordination, the Minister of Labour doesn't know how many people the HRMO is employing, PSC employing, agriculture is employing. All of this, there is no coordination.
Presentations were made on the 2014 Labour Force Survey report, status of social protection program in Sierra Leone, and situation of young people with reference to youth employment, among others.
Guma Valley Water Company is presently faced with unprecedented depletion of water sources. This is as a result of illegal activities at water catchment areas in the western area that have resulted to acute water shortage. This concern was raised by the Parliamentary Oversight Committee on Water Resources that summoned stakeholders in the water sector. Let's now join Princess Gibson for that report.
Water company is faced with unprecedented depletion of water sources, the first in 100 years. This is as a result of the construction of houses at water sources, including Babadori with 98 houses, Charlotte with 32 houses, and Bobo at number 2 river in the peninsula. Several sources, according to the production manager of Guma Valley Water Company, Mohammed Kuruma, were identified, but have dried up, resulting to the ineffectiveness of Guma to supply adequate water. This water situation has brought these key players to this session to deliberate the way forward, even though a committee was formed in 2010 but did not produce the desired result. The Minister of Water Resources, Momodu Maligi, on his part strongly pushed for the demolition of structures to send a message.
To go to map out these places and call for the document. The advisor will give a detailed report on the process so far, and we're checking those documents. We found out that even though some are signed by the Ministry of Land, a lot of them are illegally done. It's unfortunate the Ministry of Land is not here today. The minister is not here. I've had some meetings with her, and to be honest, I'm quite encouraged by the way she has started her work in this ministry. She has really evoked some serious investigations into this matter. And this is also a matter that was discussed at cabinet level, of which the Ministry of Housing is also stopping the signing of housing permits.
The Minister of Internal Affairs, retired Major Paulo Conte, says this present water shortage should not be seen as an opportunity to make political gains and calls for action.
This is time for action. I am a man who believes in action. It's only unfortunate Paulo Conte cannot be everywhere, cannot so all the MDs. But this is time for action. This is not time for talking, it's time for action. Every piece of land there has a site plan. Who signed the site plan? That's where we should start. Go to the Ministry of Lands and say, did you sign this site plan? Why did you sign it? Get that man arrested there and then. You go to the Ministry of Lands, who issued a building permit? That's all. You issue the building permit, arrest this man. He goes to Padeba.
Stakeholders at the end of the engagement reaffirmed their commitment to salvage the situation. Also in Parliament, 4 presidential nominees have been approved to serve in different positions. Solomon Ba as Director of Public Prosecutions, Miata French as Electoral Commissioner Western Area, Marcellus Ekundayo Samba Sise as Member Millennium Challenge Corporation Unit, and Verik Samuel Biokubet as Member Sierra Leone Insurance Commission. Princess Gibson.
Flaming Evangelical Ministries International will have its grand opening of its mega church on the 22nd of May. This was disclosed by the founder and general overseer of Flaming Evangelical Ministries International, Bishop Frederick Abukoroma, at a press briefing held at the Bishop's office, Ascension Town in Freetown. Hawana Tukonte reports.
To the 20th of this month, and prophetic conference from the 17th to the 19th at the church headquarters and Sheikha Stephen Stadium respectively. Flaming Evangelical Ministries International is an indigenous religious body with its headquarters in Freetown. The theme for the grand opening is See What the Lord Has Done. The Revival and Prophetic Conference will be hosted by Bishop Abu and Lady Patricia Kuruma, with Apostle Johnson Suleiman from Nigeria as guest speaker. According to the founder and general overseer of the Flaming Evangelical Ministries International, the extension of the church was born out of the increased capacity of worshippers. He said they emphasize on spiritual upliftment and education, noting that they have a charity and contribute to the development of the country.
Founder and general overseer of Flaming Evangelical Ministries International, with 61 churches in Sierra Leone, churches in the Bangura, Gambia, Liberia, Ghana, UK, America, and Australia. The Flaming Evangelical Ministry operates its headquarters from Sierra Leone. It's an indigenous religious body, but it has its headquarters here in Sierra Leone. It's from Sierra Leone that we train, equipped, and we send out missionaries to different parts of the world. We only lay emphasis on the spiritual aspects, of mankind. We also put emphasis on the education. That's why today we have so many primary and secondary schools, and also the vocational institute. So, Flaming Evangelical Ministry caters for the different aspects of man in education, as well as we also have what we call charitable organizations.
Bishop Abukoroma informed the press that the church started in 1987 and moved to its Ascension Town edifice around 1998. He said they are to see deliverance, spiritual healing, including signs and wonders. The church, which had over 1,000 seats, can now host 6,500 people, excluding its compound. The millions of dollars project, which started over 3 years ago, has modern facility with funding from members. Awanatu Conte reporting for SLBC TV News.
Sierra Leone Roads Authority has concluded a joint site inspection of the Bandajuma MRU Bridge Road project. The project cost 60 million euros, with the government providing counterpart funding by paying compensation to affected property owners. Here is the report with Abubakar Bangura.
The Bandajuma MRU Bridge Road project cost more than 60 million euros and is funded by the European Union, with the government of Sierra Leone providing counterpart funding in the form of paying compensation to property affected persons and providing quarries and campsites. According to the Director General of the Sierra Leone Roads Authority, Abdul Aziz Kamara, the exercise is a first since the commencement of the project, with a view to assess the current state of the project, identify the challenges and forge the way forward. He noted that the project is divided into 2 lots and is contracted to CSC for a period of 3 years and includes the construction of 42-lane bridges, the Sewa River Bridge in Gundama, the Wange River Bridge in Bandajuma, and the Mwa River Bridge on the Bandasuma Ferry crossing. He pointed out that the road will not only provide the link to Liberia as part of the Trans-West African route, it will also provide both social and economic benefits to the local communities and the rest of Sierra Leone. The Director National Authorizing Office, Ibrahim Suribakanu, described the role played by the European Union in the road sector as very significant, especially linking Sierra Leone to Guinea in the north and Liberia in the south. He said that the European Union has already provided funding for the Moyamba Junction-Moyamba Road and 40 bridges. The bridges he noted are the Magbele Bridge, Mabam Bridge, Pangbama Bridge, and the Baile Bridge in Moyamba. He pointed out that the European Union funding is based on several conditionalities, and among these, the direction of projects is very vital. He therefore appeals to the people not to engage the contractor on issues that have the tendency to derail the implementation of the project. In another engagement, the inspection team also met with elders and property owners in the town of Bendu, Jamabongo Chiefdom in the Bo district, and paid the sum of 60 million euros to family members for the lease of a quarry in Bendu for a period of 1 year. The quarry will be used by CSA for the Bandajuma Liberia Road project.
A non-governmental organization, Boys and Girls Club Sierra Leone, has held a one-day forum on youth empowerment and enhanced moral values held at the Freetown Teachers College. The forum is aimed to transform the minds of youth in the country and to create developmental programs for them. Hawamose reports.
Addressing school pupils at the Freetown Teachers College, the keynote speaker, who is also the chief advisor for Boys and Girls Club, Omar Dumbuya, said school pupils should focus on their education that will make them proud in future. He pointed out that the success of the children lies on their seriousness. Mr. Dumbuya advised them to be serious with their academic work, pointing out that the country will not develop without quality education. Sheikh Abubakar Conte advised the peoples to respect their parents and the elderly. He stressed that moral values goes together with respect for one another. Sheikh Abubakar Conte told them to avoid teenage pregnancy and early marriage. Given the background of the organization, Vice President of the Boys and Girls Club, Alfred Tholi, said the organization was formed in the Kosoton community to help young people. He says their focus is to change the mindsets of youths in the country by training them in different skills like tailoring, carpentering, building, and construction.
And now for some business news. Hello and welcome to the business segment of News Hour with me, Yvette Jasko. First, the foreign exchange rate. US dollar buys at 5,984 leones and sells at 6,105 leones. Pound sterling buys at 8,811 leones and sells at 8,991 leones. Euro buys at 6,918 leones and sells at 7,056 leones, courtesy of the United Bank for Africa. Sockfin Agricultural Company has started production of palm oil for internal and external consumption. The production has made it easier for people within the Malin chiefdom, benefits from the company through employment, training opportunities, and scholarship. Here is the reports.
We are here in our concession area. The road you are seeing now is leading to a village called Sembehun. And this bush you're seeing is a green belt that was leased to the company. The company in turn also gave it back to the community of people of Sembehun to make their social functions, where they can make their burial ceremonies, where they can make their funeral ceremony and other things. That is to say that this land was left deliberately to allow them to do their other social works. Then, looking on this side, this was the very historic oil palm. This is the very first oil palm that was planted here. This one where I'm leading you to. This oil palm is the very first oil palm that was planted by Sovereign Agricultural Company.
The 35,000 acres of land at Malen Chiefdom has produced palm oil which came out of the palm fruits planted a few years back. The production officer Sockfin Agriculture Company, Vamba Kone, underscored the importance of the mill, which he says has produced quality oil that has been rated internationally. Philip Mathieu is a lab technician.
We'll do qualities check for both crude palm oil and a kernel. The quality check of crude palm oil will determine the acidity of the palm oil and also the moisture content, that is the amount of water in the CPO, which will also do losses, because we are using this equipment in the mill. We want to determine if they are effective or they are efficient in their performing.
Chairlady of the market women in Samalen Chiefdom confirmed that the price of palm oil has dropped drastically within their vicinity, and that the Sockfin Agricultural Company has also created employment opportunities for members of the chiefdom with the award of scholarships to children in the chiefdom.
Now the company that will pay for them say until they go college. This company from what it don't come, we have the one great problem. The woman there with the woman there, we don't see my farm. First time, what would they do? Any market, would they go to market now collect the big problem. But from the time where this company can, man for can't sell your business. Even what would they business, what would they sell? Would they tell Papa God thank you from where they come you don't come?
And we use 70% fiber, we use 30% shell. That is our fuel.
For the whole of the day?
For the whole day, it's a continuous process. It's like we always make sure the quantity of fiber is more greater than the quantity of the shell. Why? Because we think
The launching of the Energy Revolution program will not only bring electricity to the country, but will also create businesses and improve on the economy. Rural communities will also benefit from this energy revolution, which will eventually lead to business ventures. And that's it in this edition of the business segment of Newshour. My name is Eva Jasko. Newshour continues. That was business news with Yvette Jasko. And now for sports, let's join Frances Bernard.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Sports Update on Newshour. Coming up in sports tonight, the president of the National Olympic Committee, Dr. Patrick Koka, has said that one of his main objectives as president of the NOC is to capacitate people in sport as much as he can, and that the country's team will be going to the game in the Gold Coast and Tokyo, not to only participate as usual, but to compete effectively and efficiently. He made this statement during the closing ceremony of an ITF Level 2 coaching course at the Circus Stephen Stadium. We bring you the story as he was in our studio earlier on.
One or two occasions that I have taken my first couple of years to sort of see what exactly is happening in the sports world. And Glasgow was for me a learning process, and I'm almost sure that Rio is also going to be the same. That is to see what is happening, see what can be done, and to develop a strategy. And I think I have, with my executive, developed a strategy already. And based on that,
well, sorry, we can't bring you that story. Well, with that, we bring the curtain down for Sports Update on Newshour. Good night.
To end Newshour, the main points again. First Lady Sianya Makuruma has called on young women to empower themselves to achieve their dreams. As Freetown experiences water scarcity, Parliament has summoned stakeholders in the water sector. The Chief Executive Officer of Save the Children International, Anthony Smith, has called on the international community to help Sierra Leone achieve its post-Ebola recovery plan. That's all in this edition of Newshour. On behalf of the news editor, Asmi Uba, I am Mbalu Bangura. For more information about our programs, do send us an email to www.contactus. Good night. Thanks for joining me.
Bye.